You pop in so you can hear Alex.
I'm very excited about hearing Alex.
Thank
Hello,
you.
darling.
Hi. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Very good to see you as well.
Saying to Martin, I'm just a big fan of you guys. And the thing for me is, the brand and how busy you guys are and the stuff that you do, you still manage to have time for people and talk to people and share your story about that.
Absolutely. Everything we do is always about people, Alex.
Yeah.
That's what we're about. So
absolutely. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Because I'm in the Facebook group. I follow you guys, and the lives that you do, and I listen to them. And I was particularly struck by a lot of things in your stories, but we'll probably get to that at some point. But it's just been really good. I'm really glad that you guys agreed to come on the podcast and talk to us about your story.
And never underestimate that we'll learn something from you as well. And this is what we are great. We work on this principle, or I do, because I think Kelly knows a lot more than I do, normally about me. But I know what I know, but I also know what I don't know. Okay, and I'm never afraid to, when someone says something, do you understand that, Martin? And I go, I don't understand. I don't know, because there's no point me giving myself BS through life, because otherwise, again, what lessons are our kids going to get from that? And it doesn't really, and I think the universe has a way of rewarding you. It can be cruel. The universe can be cruel. World can be cruel. And I know that. But yet, I think if your intent is good, the right people turn up. Yeah, I do believe.
Absolutely. I think even for me, I'm a firm believer that if your vision is clear enough, like you really define where you want to, you don't need to get bogged down into the how you get there, because things just happen. When I started this podcast, I had no idea I would be speaking to great people like you, but look where we are today. So that's my firm belief as well. So I listened to your podcast as well. Obviously,
did you enjoy?
It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I haven't lived up to Punit's style yet, but I've tried.
Amazing.
Proper gentleman. Very he just love his
his wisdom is just incredible. He talks from a place of love as well, and intent, and he's a very warm person, somebody that you can really resonate with. It's great.
Absolutely. It's great to have people like that in the network, so so the purpose of today, because I know even this time is not enough to capture what you guys are. So we just want to try and capture the big stuff that you guys can share. So first, I'll just obviously to just I've listened to the podcast and I know bits of your story, but just for our listeners here who wouldn't have as yet, at the end we'll share where they can find you and stuff, and they can listen to your podcast as well. But just to the way I see this going is we'll start off with how you start on your podcast as well, your words to carry forward onto this show. Please.
I like it. I can tell you listen. Well done,
absolutely.
Okay, so do you want to do this?
You sidestep that one. You can. Payback. I'll get you back for that, Alex. Right.
It's an easy one for me. So
brilliant.
For anybody that's watching, for anybody that's listening, you have to have that vision. And you have to have that belief that you're in a strength, that whatever it is that you aspire to, whatever holds you and captivates you, it takes you forwards. And no matter what you go through in life, no matter what, if you're true to the person that you are, and you have the belief in what you can achieve, incredible things can happen. So never ever let anybody tell you that you cannot achieve or that you are not good enough, because you are more than enough. That's what I'd like to say.
I will add.
Words.
Yeah, and I'm going to add that. Oh, they're beautiful words. My practical tip is the words to carry forward. I want everyone and think on this, because I'm all about the people. It's, where are you? Where do you want to go? And who do you have to become? Who do you have to become to achieve what you want to do? Are your habits, your patterns, your processes, whatever you do now, going to get you to that? Even if you have great dreams and aspirations, are the way you're showing up in the world now, are those the right skill sets? Are they honed enough to get you there? So who do you have to become? And when I say that, what it means is turning the mirror around and looking in the mirror and holding that look, and then holding it, and then holding it some more, and kind of going, oh, I may not like what I see, or I do like what I see. I can build on that. Now, there's two of us in this equation. Actually, no, I think Alex actually is one of those individuals that keeps his hair short out of choice, whereas mine is a default setting. Right? And then Kelly has got hair. So yeah, I have to face truth every time I look in the mirror. All right, no, joking aside, but those three things: where are you? Where do you want to go? Who do you have to become? So those are the words I would encourage people to carry forward.
Brilliant, very powerful words as well. So first, I just wanted to sort of, you could briefly start with Kelly. Just take us through, because the way I want to do this, in your message, obviously you talk a lot about resilience and growth and moving forward, tackling those adversity and things that people have gone through. So the first part I wanted to capture, those are real life examples of your story and where you've been, where you've come from, and where you are. So if we begin with that, so people and the listeners can actually begin to see or get to feel that starting point of the points of really adversity and what you've gone through, and then later on we'll cover how you have managed to get through that and the way forward.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate your time, giving me that time to share my story. But I have to say that I know that I'm not the only one that has ever faced adversity and found the strength to come through it. But for me, it's about sharing truths to break down barriers, to allow people to know that it's not ever the end. Whatever they're facing, they're not alone, and they can reach out and they can move forward from it. And so for me, my life started right down the bottom of the southwest in the UK. I had an amazing grandfather. I had an amazing nan. I grew up very much in the family home. My mum was very young. And life was just great. The beaches, the countryside, it was just a joy. My nan passed away when I was 3. I grew up, my dad and my mother were actually divorced, and I would have been probably 2 years old. Now, that's quite normal for families to find hardships where they part ways. But my mum met somebody who became my new dad. And unfortunately, at the age of 11, 12, I was abused. And at the age of 14, when I just became, a young girl, somebody who was just finding their way in life, hadn't spoken out about this or these incidences. And my mum found my diary and asked me, what's going on, what's happened. And I was very honest with my mum, and I said, unfortunately, the nerves kicked in, and I smiled. And my mum said, right, you can't stay here. So at 14 years old, I then had that, I'm on my own. I went to live with my auntie for a couple of weeks, missed my friends, and went into what's called supportive care. So that was the first kind of experience, really. I had a bed sit, I had to do my own food shopping, all of those things. Hadn't even done my exams. But life is like that sometimes, and life isn't always plain sailing for everyone. So I appreciated the fact that worse things could happen, and I practiced extreme gratitude, and just tried to rediscover who I was. I moved away on my own at 16, up to Exeter, which is a little bit furthermore closer up to, you know,
it's just not at the bottom.
It's not at the bottom, but it's
not at the bottom.
You know, at 16 years old, to a city, not knowing anybody, and it was quite a brave thing. I never thought about it like that when I was that young. And anyway, we move on another 3 years, and I thought that I'd found the love of my life, and I was in an abusive relationship, and it was pretty horrific. It didn't start off like that, but he was very violent, very physically and mentally abusive, and I had to flee my family home with a very young son as well. So that taught me a lot about the fact that, you know, you have to find your strength in those situations, and it is not your fault when other people come against you with, you know, emotional abuse or physical abuse. On both of those accounts, I was an innocent party, and I had to be really resilient and dig deep for that inner strength. Anybody that's in an abusive relationship, it is really hard because you don't know how to break free. But there is a way. You have to find that strength to be able to do it and make those choices. And I did, and I managed to come out of that relationship on my own. I bought my own home. I've always worked. Worked very, very hard. I went into having my own business. And so I started a estate agency when I was just coming up for 17. And I loved it. I was an estate agent for about 10 years. And then I thought, right, I'm going to start my own. And that's what I did. And I loved it because I love helping people to move forward. And that's what I've always been about. And it was just an incredible experience. I loved being an estate agent. I was very proud. But I also identified where I could improve things, and I could be an innovator, and I could be a force that could change things here and be disruptive in the local market. And that's what I tried to do. Unfortunately, it went wrong. And after 12 years of being in business, I lost everything. And recently, just 19 months ago, I had to put my business into liquidation. I left a lot of people unhappy. I was in a huge amount of debt. I did nearly get to that point, didn't I, darling, where I felt that the world would be a better place without me here. And then I found that strength again, that resilience. And although I had to make big decisions and take lots of different action at several steps of the way, I always did what I thought was the right thing, the best thing that I could do in that circumstance with those, you know, the tools or the resources that were available to me. And, you know, coming through something like that is quite huge. But, you know, I lost my car, more than likely lose the home. So losses as well. I know how that feels. And so now what I do is I did a lot of work on myself to heal, to recover. And now I use what I like to think of as my gift of those pains in life, those moments where I did nearly break, to be somebody that can pioneer for change, somebody that can pioneer for that I believe in you, and somebody that will pioneer and fight for other people that are in those really challenging, traumatic circumstances, because I've been there, and somebody that removes the stigma attached with failure, and somebody that sympathizes for those women, especially with entrepreneurs, that have hardships in life, because I believe that we all have those hardships and we can all come through it as stronger individuals as well.
Wow.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's quite a powerful story, Kelly. And because, like you say, it seems to be, obviously, there's been various shocks that have happened throughout your life, which have taken you in certain directions. But, you know, talk about your mental health. Like, I mean, obviously, being so young and having to go through so big shocks in life and still getting through that, you know. What do you think really kept you going? Like, was there any specific big reason or big why that, you know, even in those darkest moments that you thought you probably didn't want to live anymore, there must have been a little bit of light or hope or someone or something? How did you get through that?
It's always been about leading with love. And I've always wanted to see, instead of looking at things and looking at them as negatives or things that could hold you back or things that can, you know, stop you and freeze you in your tracks, or in your business, sometimes procrastination and all of those things that can happen to all of us. For me, it's about seeing the opportunities out there, for having that belief, for taking responsibility and ownership, and for acting at all times, you know, in action steps that can help you to just keep moving forwards. I believe that we're all connected. I believe in a higher energy, and I believe that everybody here has purpose, and I believe that we can all help each other to grow forward in whatever circumstance. And so my role now is to serve other people and to help them through these tough, you know, decisions that they have to make, or losses, and you know, the hardships in their life, because the world has become a little bit more problematic,
yeah.
And it's hard for people. And so rather than talking about entrepreneurism being all shiny and fluffy, which it can be at times, I've had those successes too. My life hasn't always been doom and gloom. I've had some real huge wins. I'm fortunate for some of the things that I've achieved. I've loved lots of moments in my life, and I'm very proud of what I've achieved. And so it's to recognize those things too, you know, and your skills and your strengths as a human being, what you can help other people to achieve as well in that process.
Nicely.
And it sounds that you know, the mindset has been the biggest thing that has carried you through. I mean, given what you know now about mindset and resilience and all of that, do you think your life or your path would have turned out differently if you knew what you know now then at that young age, do you think?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it, Alex? Because I believe my life has turned out perfectly. If I hadn't have gone through certain challenges in my life, survival, you know, if I hadn't survived, if I hadn't have took the decision to actually look at things differently and move forward quickly, instead of wallowing in self-pity or blaming others or not forgiving, you have to forgive as well to be able to move forward and take time to heal. If I hadn't have done all of that and spent hours of my time investing in my own personal development, I wouldn't be ready to move forward. And this is the point. I have done all of those things, so I am now ready. And life has turned perfectly for me, because if those things hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be talking from experience. I would be talking from a book or something I'd learned from someone else. When I talk to my clients, I'm talking from my own experiences, and that's really important.
That's really powerful. And I guess
sorry, babe, I'm taking the line.
No. I was just going to add to that. The shining story. You wouldn't have met me.
I wouldn't have met
Martin. Let's point out the obvious here. Come on. Let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? No, that's cool.
I'll come on to your
No, that's absolutely cool, Alex. To be honest, kind of hearing Kelly's story, and I'm a very visual person, and I remember things like movies, and just a range of emotions through that, being there through a fraction of that story, but also just realizing, and we've worked on stuff together from work that I do, is and that realization of your next phase of your life, to be able to help more people than you possibly thought was possible.
And also what I'm picking up there, Kelly, is that given all that, there's no like anger or bitterness or whatever it is from all that past and the things, even the people who have done you wrong or all things that I've gone through. And I think for me, that is key as well. You're sort of letting yourself free of those negative emotions that can actually impact your future and how you move forward. So
yeah, definitely. And it's understanding that you have the choice to look at it differently. You don't have to, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. We have a choice how we decide to choose how we respond to things. The issue is when it's from a place of hurt, or when it's from a place of, I have to take this action because I'm in crisis, or I have to take this move because I'm surviving. So when you put those extreme pressures on top of somebody, they can sometimes make the wrong, or the, you know, not necessarily the choice that they would have made, maybe if they were coming from a very gentle path. So it's recognizing that it's our choice as to how we respond, and that just because stuff's going on around us, it doesn't give us the right to respond in a hurtful way or in a bitter way. We should still have the possibility of an adult, as a human being, as a heartbeat, to be able to look at things equally.
Wow. And it's almost like well, let's go to Martin now. Your story, because
I'm transfixed by Kelly's words at the moment. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just going off into a world of Kelly. Brilliant.
Absolutely. Because I mean, just picking up from Kelly's story and what she said, that everything that has happened to her has been that particular order to get her where she is today, and that includes meeting you, Martin.
Seamlessly done, Alex. Seamlessly done.
That's all part of the story. So yeah, just to give us a bit of your story as well, please.
Wow. Well, I've got 10 years longer on my stories, but I'll try and make it a little bit shorter. Okay. Long story short, now I grew up a little bit further down the bottom of the UK than Kelly. We came from the same county. Grew up on a farm, really free lifestyle, rode horses, that kind of thing. Just kind of, those are our, just a really free life. Really, really cool. Really like that. Got sent away to a military boarding school. Dad was in the services, and that was just a complete polar opposite of my existence. But it taught me fundamentals of principle, self-discipline, focus, and things, which I'm only confessed to acknowledge now later on in life that they were good for me. But at the time I hated it. I'll be honest, I hated it, because you're away from your parents, and I get it. And I get it that some people aren't fortunate enough to have parents or go into foster homes or things. So, you know, me going away for 6 weeks and I'm not seeing my mum, cool, which meant I didn't have to muck out stables, which is quite nice as well. So I must admit, I didn't have to do those kind of things, but grew up on a farm. So that whole essence of you got to work hard, you got to do things, and then kind of just fell through education, went into the service industry where I learned about people. Without realizing it, it was all about people. It was about, how can I help you? How can I improve you? And I've been through various things through my professional career. The random stuff that I've done, in my own personal life, from being in a band to doing a year of stock car racing to kind of like now, what was my recent thing over recent years is learning to skydive. Just the random stuff that I do, because through all this, I'm just testing myself and I'm just doing it. Anyway, I got to a point, I was in a long relationship, had kids, and they're a blessing, absolute blessing, because they teach me more about myself than any other experience in my whole world. Okay. And then that kind of, we had a business and things tied up together. That just served its time. Okay. It was just served its time. It's a couple of decades, and there's going to be hurt and things through that, but you can either sit in the hurt or you can kind of work through it. And I know we have to go through a range of emotions when there's loss or something's taken from us or suddenly various things. But prior to that, I'd had a very good friend who had taken his life, and a few other people. And I didn't realize how much of an imprint that was going to make on me. And so there's some real dark moments that I went there when I was trying to work out why a friend would do that. You know, I found him, and that kind of that's helped me now to help other people through certain things. Not an expert on it, far from it. But what it's taught me about is darkness and light, and where we can sit with our own thoughts and our actions. And actually, we all need help from people to do things, because, you know, what's the phrase? No man is a mountain, or lady or person. I've got to be PC these days, haven't I? Goes through, I know, and it's trying to find my thing. And eventually I was sat in a flat, literally on my own. The kids, it was okay with the childcare. It was kind of cool. They could come and go as they wanted. But I was sat there going, and I was almost 50. And I went, what the bloody hell's my life come to? This wasn't how I envisaged it to be. No way did I envisage it. I'm sorry, my voice went a bit higher. Yeah, no way did I envisage it to be like that. Other singing voices are available. But just right, look in the mirror. How did you get here? Was I feeding myself BS all the time? Was I listening to my influences, the wrong influence, various things? And I started to kind of go, right, what do I want to do? And I kind of, more by fortune or luck, perhaps not intent, because I must admit, I don't really think through my life there was ever really a plan. I just think I went, well, I'll try that. I like that. I've developed properties. I've done loads of things. Years ago, I wouldn't get up on the roof to renovate a property. And then years later, I'm there doing all that stuff. Anyway, the point is, I then kind of go along and I go, what do I want to do? And someone said to me, you're good with people. So I started going into the training and the coaching, the development space. I kind of fell into that. But I realized that I was asking questions that a lot of people avoided asking, which was the truth, which was to cut through the filters, to cut through the stuff and kind of go, right, why do you do what you do? Why do you keep repeating it? And then unpacking questions. But way back before this, I'd already started doing NLP and started kind of studying myself. And again, that's the biggest lesson. When anyone starts down that route of self-development, be prepared for what you're going to find. You can either help it to build you up or keep you stuck somewhere. So I then kind of go down this route and I then went, right, I want to do my own thing and form my own kind of coaching. That's where Over the Edge came from. It's about taking that leap of faith. You can have the best plans, you can have things lined up, but at some point you've got to go, I'm going over the edge and I'm just going to do it, all right? And what happens is life tends to reward you when you take those chances. But what happens in a lot of those instances, people around you going, you sure you want to do that? Do you really want to do that? But they're not breathing your air. They're not walking in your skin. Okay, they're not you. You say so. No one can gauge that more. And we might trip up. We might fall flat on our face. And I learn it experientially. So exactly the same as Kelly said, is that when I coach and work with people, and we do, and you know from our community, is that I will offer advice, I should say, from experience. All right, it's from here, it's within me, it's within my DNA. So anyway, then I start to kind of want to think, right, I'll develop this coach in this space, and I just was recommended to go and work in a different area, and that different area just happened to be where this person to the left of me worked. And this is a beautiful love story. If I actually think about it, I've never really said it like this and put this on recording. We're in a magazine. The person that was doing my branding at the time was the editor of the magazine, and they said a little articles bits come up where the guys dropped out. We can put you launching your skydiving and coaching doing it. Anyway, I'm really chuffed. I'm in a magazine, little tiny bit. I open the pages, and then there's this lady who's got 3-4 page spread. I'm like, she's a bit greedy. I've only got a little bit. Anyway, long story short, I read about Kelly, and the next minute I'm writing an email to her saying I've got to meet because of what she was doing and in building people up. And the rest is history. But I managed to get through a PA. She read the email a few times. Apparently, she checked me out on social media. And then
I had to do my research.
Right, okay.
Due diligence.
Exactly. I think I did. There was a guy following me around for a while. I'm not sure about that. He was watching me. Anyway, we met and we got together and we've been inseparable ever since. But what we realized is through all of this is our particular skill set.
Complement each other.
Massively so. Because the things that I don't like doing, Kelly is natural. And the things that Kelly doesn't like doing, I systematically, from that kind of educational background of dad in the forces, those kind of things, process, systems, habits, but not being afraid. And I'll come back to the reference of my mate when he took his life, was that was a really dark moment. And if I ask someone an awkward question when I'm working with them, because it's for their growth, what is the worst that is going to happen? They're going to tell me to politely go away, normally because I've hit a nerve, all right? Or they're going to have a realization. But really, what is the worst that can happen? You know, and I put myself in situations learning to skydive. It's insane. It's like no other feeling. But you've got to have so much present moment awareness, clearly. But it's that space where what is the worst that can happen? Well, in that instance, it's slightly different. But there are pros. But what I mean is, it's that if I'm asking people to lead and change, is that I have to be seen, and I can't just do it from theory. I have to push myself. So if I'm asking a sales guy to pick up the phone, what's the worst that's going to happen? Let's speak to the customer. They might say yes, you know, and just everything goes through.
Have you had a shot of coffee or caffeine?
I might have done through the day. All right, but everything's led to that. Everything's led to that point, and I think the combination. We're very aware that the two of us work well together, but most people don't have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's quite a unique combination, and I get that, and I feel, but it's taken me 50 years and Kelly 40 years to get to that point. So therefore, it's that classic: be patient in that process.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys probably hear this a lot, but it does come through. You know how you two are pretty much perfect, complementary together, and that's why even for people in the community, or when looking to do mentorships or anything with you guys, it's like you're getting two for the price of one, and that's a bargain.
Thank you. You heard it here first. Other offers are available. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, because there is, and I think that's the thing, is because in the space that we're in, it gets quite noisy. So we realised that we wanted to have something that was, and it's just us bringing our experiences forward. And if it resonates with people, cool. So that's the kind of the abridged version of how we got to this point. And she's put up with me so far, Alex. So I don't think she hasn't kicked me out. So I think it seems to be working okay.
You put me to touch as well, don't you?
Yeah, well, it works both ways.
Absolutely. Now, I want to pick up on something you said, Martin, in your episode, which I can't No, it's actually, when I heard that, it just made a lot of sense to me. So I just wanted to bring it out a bit more. So
Alex, don't tell him that. God.
And this is relating to your bit when you talked about, because you used to do hairdressing before, yeah?
Yeah, you've got to see the irony in that, haven't you? You've really got to see the irony.
So you said that I was focused on making people look good on the outside. But what I realized when I started speaking to people was actually I want to help them work on the inside. Yeah. So you mentioned you're a firm believer that you start on the inside and work your way out. So for me, that was quite a beautiful statement, really. And it just, somehow lays everything out. Yeah.
It is beautiful. So and hearing it coming back like that, it is kind of, because I think I knew what you were going to say. And it's really interesting because I skipped past that part of my life in a way because it was really interesting, actually, because I was really, and this may sound strange, but really discriminated against when I chose to go into that profession when I was younger. And, and I had mates that were doing building, they were doing all the things that blokes are supposed to do. That's stereotypical. It was, okay? But yeah, I used to flip it and go, so what, you're out on a cold building site, I'm inside chatting to ladies, drinking coffee. It's not really that difficult, is it? But what I mean, all joking aside, it is. I realized that, and that's when I kind of came away from the profession, because you're told not to really have opinions in that. You're there to serve people, which is cool. But when you get to know someone, you are in that intimate space. And I didn't used to think twice about when I would work, and I would see clients out, and I'd literally go up to them and go, oh, we need to do something about that, and their partners are their husbands. Well, sorry, I know we've got a lot of okay, but yeah, when you're in, you've got to be confident in that space, but respectful, really respectful, okay? But also you would talk about things and you would be relaxed. I mean, I remember sometimes the conversations I'd have in the salon, the rest of the salon would be quiet because they were listening to the, and I didn't talk about the usual crap, okay? I just talked about stuff that really was worth having a conversation. And that really, Alex, you've hit the nail on the head there, because when I realized that people took away some of my advice and they came back the next time and went, I did that. And a lot of the time it was around self-limiting beliefs. It was around people around them telling them they couldn't do something. When I said, who are they? Who are they to measure to tell you what? So yeah, thank you for that. Yes, that's beautiful. And hearing that back and relaying that, got a little bit emotional then, actually. That was,
I thought I saw a little tear.
Just, because that really to get to that point, Alex, I think that's taken thank you.
I mean, that's the brilliant thing of listening and understanding people's stories. You got to learn a lot, because in that, I mean, just the wisdom in that, if you work on your inside, everything else on the outside just shines through, and that is really, really key. And because that's where as people we probably get bogged down in that, the outside, the flashy things, but you don't know the impact that is having on other people. But when you stop and look inside, I thought that was a really beautiful way of looking at things. And it does come out in the work that you guys do as well about mindset and all that.
Yeah, and I would. Thanks, Alex. What I would like to do is offer people advice, because the longer we go through the life, the harder it is to peek inside, because we put up more filters, we put up more layers, we put up more trimmings, more trappings. We all know we've had it, we've had stuff, we've lost it. I've renovated properties, created assets, lost it, gone down. It's a roller coaster. Okay, but then I've cultivated skills to how to be self-aware to process that. But once you start to look inside, it becomes quite infectious. It actually becomes kind of foul. But what happens is that someone has turned up in your life at a certain point, or it could be an extreme set of circumstances, to go, stop, have a look. Life will keep presenting you with those same patterns, but they ramp them up and ramp them up, ramp them up until you get it, until they knock you metaphorically off your feet and you go, stop and look. And I think it's, and at some point in life, what happens then, someone from the right of you or from the left of you or behind you comes and taps you on the shoulder and goes, you're right. You're right. Can I help you with that? And you don't know them. You don't know who they are, but they are on one of those chapters, two of those chapters. They're a little bit further in the novel of their life. And they've recognized, actually, let's give them a hand up. So, thank you for that, Alex. That was beautiful. You sound more eloquently than I did, clearly.
And there's a lot of links here with I'm looking at in some of Kelly's posts where she says the only way is to grow forward, to become a leader of your own destiny and way forward in life. So you start with getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Absolutely. The thing is, you can be a victim to trauma, to circumstance, to to anything that can come out of nowhere, because life in literally 60 seconds to do a 360-degree turn. You can be thinking everything's fine. Next thing you know, you could be hit by a real and I don't like talking about this, because I think you are kind of almost as well your thoughts, but you can be hit by an illness. You can, there's lots of things that can happen to anybody, and it's really unfortunate. So it's how you choose to respond to them. And that's the thing. And I believe that if the quicker that you almost go, right, that happened in my life. What have I learnt? What can I take from it that's actually going to help me to grow forwards? How could I have done better? How can I improve on that? How is it going to help other people? Right, file, next. And it literally is like, right, resilience on. And that's how you have to move forward, especially in business. It's not personal. The emotion isn't there. It's a business decision, which should make it a lot easier. But unfortunately, as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, a lot of the time our business is our life. Our business is everything to us. And so that was one of the biggest lessons I learned was Kelly Forrester, was not her business. She was her own person. And actually that failure was just the beginning of another incredible journey. And so it's just those moments that you stop, are patient, breathe in, reflect, look inside, do those things. How could I learn? What have I learned? What am I responsible for? Who have I hurt along the way? How did that happen? Could I have done anything different? No. Was there anything else I could have done? No. So you did your best. Yes. Okay, move forward.
Yeah. Wow. So just picking up on there, actually, the article that you put up yesterday, you provided these 5 steps in there.
He's on it, isn't he? Alex is right. I'm sorry, listeners. You need to pay attention to how much Alex is paying attention. Okay, because to me, I see whether it's right. I'll come back, but I see where the downloads come in actually, and you were one of the first ones And I'm like, okay. But then I went, hang on a minute, I know he's going to mention something about that when they do.
Why didn't you tell me?
In the moment, all right? I'm just mentioning.
Absolutely.
I think I did. No, you're saving the world at that point, right? But no, sorry.
No,
Alex,
for me, it's because for me, it's because your message just resonates so much. Because first, about looking on the inside, it doesn't matter what people think about you or whatever, because that is their business. If you can feel from inside and be at peace at yourself, that's you. And then these steps that you talk about: accept, take charge, patience, mindset, and define your purpose. Just take us a bit more through those, please, if you could.
Well, I think I've already talked a lot about those initial steps, but let's talk about our purpose, because this is where I get really excited. Is
hold on, listeners.
It's so true. We are capable of so much more. We, when we look at where we are, it's not material objects. It's not, it's what's within, and it's often the thing that I see more than anything else when working with clients. When I've sold goodness knows how many houses over the years, working in a very male-dominated, very sales-specific industry, is that egotistic behavior. When actually, when you're faced with losses, you realize that the most important thing aren't those things. The most important thing is actually being grateful for every day, being grateful for the things that do and are in your life. And so rediscovery is about looking at those things, but in yourself. So what you're doing is, okay, what are my skills? What are my qualities? What are my values? What are my beliefs? Who am I? Where do I want to go with my life? We are spirits. We are heartbeats. We are part of something incredible. Don't waste our life. Do something that empowers others. Do something that you want to get up in the morning and feel really excited about, that you're really intent about and purposeful. And that is your motivation. Because then it's not a job. It's what you were born and destined to do. And you walk into you. And I'm a great believer that what your aspirations are, they need to be bigger than you. And we grow like animals. We shed our skin, we move forward. We grow through cycles. And the fact is, the more adversity, the more things that happen in our life, the more that we get stretched beyond our comfort zone, instead of sitting in that same bubble, the more that we can do, the more that we become stronger, the more that we physically find ourselves being pulled forward into a new direction. And it's so true. I need stage. We really need to think hard about who we are, and that self-discovery is really important.
Can I put a caveat in there? It can take time. All right, and this is where people need to pay patience. It can take time, and that's okay, because everyone's ingredients in life are different. That was really well described, and I'll give you a chance to take a sip of your coffee whilst you're there.
But then in this, I was gonna say, in this modern age, when things are moving so fast, like everyone is looking for that quick success and everyone else is doing well, what can I want to be there tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So everything's like in a pressure cooker, so pressurized.
Don't think about what everyone else is doing. I mean, there's an element within. So some of what I do is look at strategy, so business planning, and recovery. And in that instance, yes, you need to know what your competitors are doing. So you have to form a competitor analysis, of course. But once you've done that, you know where you are. You actually look to grow into something bigger. So always look for that forward step. But also, how are you going to get there? Because at the beginning of the episode, I remember your words, Alex, were, but I don't necessarily think about the plan. I think about the plan, because I believe that everything we do has so we do something, there's a consequence. We do something, there's a consequence. We do something, there's a, and if we're building positive momentum, we're building successful steps, what we're doing is we're building those blocks that improve our performance and improve our outcomes and where we want to go. And so it is about having that strategy. It is about taking those steps, but it's also believing in them as well.
Wow.
I'm just there in the image. I'm there.
Absolutely. Okay. So having talked about all this, where we've been at the resilience and all of that, now let's talk about the success stories and the positivity and everything else. So tell us where you are and the success and the things happening and the excitement of the future, over the edge and all of that. So some positivity now. So yeah.
Right. Well, the success here, succinctly put, is that we're here, we're breathing, we're living. I think that's always a good place to start. And my mantra in the mornings, and it's really simple, is when I wake up, it's thank you. And that's the first. And I don't have a particular belief, but I have a belief that I'm particular about recognizing that there is a force, there is a united force, and who I'm saying thank you to, I don't know. I may not actually be saying thank you to Kelly if she's woken me up at that point, but, but I'm awake. Okay. So, and I think with Over the Edge, I mean, the success is, okay, let me into a secret. What I've been really frustrated about this year, and it's kind of just one of my goals, is that I'm supposed to, one more jump I've got to do, Alex, to jump out of a plane to get my license, okay, which means technically I can go skydive anywhere around the globe. And I set this precedent, 3 years ago. But technically you can't be in a plane without a pilot, because he would have to be 2 meters away from you. So I'm not sure how we're going to work that one out. So when I come back to the patients, I've had to wait almost a year to be told it's not going to happen, probably for another year. Okay. Yeah. Success is, and this may not be what you want, is me processing that, going, that's cool. I wasn't supposed to do it now. All right. I wasn't supposed to do that. And actually it buys me back time that I can put, because the reality is I have to drive a couple of hours to a jump site. The weather may put it off, depending, you don't know when you get there. The weather's different here at home than it is there. So it could be a whole day that I'm out. So actually I flipped it. So rather than I haven't managed to do that, is I've gained some time. So the success is how I more quickly reframe things because of all that stuff up to this point. Stepping across to what it means for Over the Edge is, and I'm chuckling as I'm saying this, is Kelly's, and there is no other way to put it than her to a world domination plan. But it's not necessarily domination. It's kind of just the strategy that comes out at 4 o'clock in the morning when I wake up and, where is she? Oh, she'll be downstairs working. And I've literally, it's like a frenzied chicken in there. But I'm sorry. She's tapping. Have you had a cuppa? I've got time for a cuppa. So when you ask right at the beginning, how do we do what we do? Is because our energy levels have a really good effect of lifting each other and going on. So the successes are. And we've, I think, I'm not sure if we've alluded to in this, is that we have the situation that's a residual effect from, we have to sort out our house this year as to where we're going to be, because it was tied into the guarantee of the business of various things. So we have a practical thing to get around, but we've really reframed this. And it's how can we look at that as a new start and a development for the two of us and our kids and the dog that we now have, and probably a budgerigar and a gerbil we might pick up along the way. I don't know. We're going to have, I'm sure there's, well, I just think menagerie of animals going through the years. Okay, but the successes are our membership site that is growing. Our members within that are beginning to cultivate our community that is growing. The mentoring and training, and we just had someone a moment ago that we were on a podcast with, and they basically said, look, let's have a conversation about working together. So what I would say is, when you put yourself out into the world, as you should do, as you are, you are rewarded proportionately to how much you give to other people, I believe. The successes going forward this year are immeasurable in our thinking, but it's how much energy have we got? And we're developing our membership, we're developing our one-to-one Over the Edge kind of umbrellas over the membership. Kelly's got a whole long list of all the things here as well. Right,
wow.
One of the many.
Yeah.
Do you want to add to this? Because she's itching to.
I've
right?
got no idea where the skydiving came in all of that.
I knew if I didn't get that in, all right, that was going to, because I'm part of Over the Edge. That's how the original.
Over the Edge.
All right.
So, what Ryan's saying is one of the biggest dreams, his biggest ambition, his biggest goal. One of them was to have a podcast show, which was one of the first things that I wanted to make possible this year.
Yeah.
As a thank you for being my world and being my rock, because that's what he has been through all of this. But also, he wants to throw himself off, quite frankly, kind of a building in Dubai.
Yeah, base
of all
jumping in
places.
Dubai. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what we're aiming to get to, a point where we create a fluid lifestyle, fluid business model, where we help as many people as we can across the world. I would love nothing more than to be stood on a stage helping transform and change the lives of many, 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 many people. And that is every morning I wake up, I visualize that. And I visualize how I'm getting closer towards my goal and how we're going to get there. And we are. Every day, something positive is happening to us.
Yeah.
We're grateful for that. Hugely grateful.
Wow.
But Martin's probably right. The first thing you do is you wake up and you go,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, you've already answered that. That was my next bit. I was going to ask you what is the role of gratitude, but you've gone through that already. That's quite a big part, isn't it? Be thankful.
Huge part. Yeah, it's a huge part. And what's really interesting is we don't measure. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, there's certain things that will come as a result of helping many people. And there's that great phrase which the late Jim Rohn says, which was service to many leads to greatness. Now, I'm not sure if it's a biblical reference, and I'm not sure because again, I pull these things. So how many people can we serve, and how many more people, and how many more people? And if it gives us the trimmings and trappings and the vehicles to get, with me, it's all the drop zones around the world. Okay, this is the master plan. Okay, is to go to all those places around the world and tie it up where Kelly can speak as well, but we can travel. Now, I know this is going to be post-COVID and whatever goes on because the way we operate is differently, but it's how can we have that fluid lifestyle, but also how are we showing our kids what they can do? Yeah, because they've seen us working since we come together at such a pace where they're almost they're learning by osmosis. Okay, they're learning that you can deal with troubles, but you can sit in the mire, or you can go, right, I'm going to deal with this. It may be really uncomfortable. I don't like it, but I'd rather, with me, I'd rather know. I don't ever want to not know. The successes are limitless in our mind, but it's not trimmings and trappings. It's contribution to others.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like the fact that, as people, who are we if make our dreams come true, or at least try, and we can dream big, so that's
Alex,
that's
what are
awesome.
What are your big goals in life? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve?
So for me, my passion now is knowledge sharing, because for me, I believe, motivation is temporary, but when you inspire people, that's permanent. And you inspire people through stories like this. There'll be people in my group, they listen to your stories, you guys, and the stuff that you've gone through, the dreams and the things you're aspiring to, and they'll think, wow, why can't I do that? Why can't I be like that? So for me, that's what inspires me. That's what motivates me, inspires me to say, let me share, let me reach out to people who have been through adversity. They've got successes. They've got a lot going on. Let me bring that, share it to others as well, and see what difference it can make. You never know, because you never know who you're going to touch. Yeah. So that's quite a big part of me, just knowledge sharing. And you learn, even for me, I learn a lot of stuff, like all this stuff that Martin and you, Kelly, were sharing. That's why I follow you guys. There's a lot of stuff that I share. So have
you ever gone through any adversity?
I have, actually. I would, probably I can share that now. But my wife actually passed away last year. She suffered from cancer for quite a few years. So that was quite a difficult time for me. And I almost had put my life and things on hold, trying to deal with all of that and the hospitals and all that. So now, a year on, I thought, what can I do? Maybe, see what I can share out there, bring people on the show and get to share stories and all of that. So that's me, just sharing that knowledge with people.
Firstly, I'm really sorry to hear that your wife passed away. What got you through that, darling?
For me, it was, I guess, probably touching a little bit. Reading through a lot of materials about motivation and values and all that. I remember listening to John DeMartino, who you guys would have probably heard of. And when he talks about values, he talks about how everything that happens is neutral. Like in anything that happens whether you see it as an adversity, but there is a seed of goodness or success, and it can be really, really hard or difficult or painful, even in something like death. Someone is talking to you about it and actually telling you that there is actually a good in it. It's difficult to see, but with the passage of time, when you actually stop, maybe there could be, and it's things that I've struggled with a lot to try and see, but maybe as a gift or as something that plays on the legacy of my late wife, is to actually bring myself out with what I can offer people in terms of bringing them the message and whatever. Maybe that's something she would appreciate. Now I've got that time and I can do that. That's what I believe. I'm not the complete picture. I probably still need to do a little bit more digging of myself, Alex, but until I get there, this is what I feel.
Alex, what would you say are your 3 challenges right now that kind of is there anything that I can help you with? And I would do this as a as a mutual friend, because I want to help you. If there's anything that you would like some help with in terms of business or life, Martin and I, we would more than happily help you.
Yeah, that would be very kind of. I have actually ideas, just like you went through. I have a vision in my head of because
That's
aside to doing this as well, I have a property business which I run, but I do have a vision of where I want to be in terms of helping people. And I was actually offline, maybe after this, going to reach out to you guys to see what from a mentorship or one-on-one or all of that I can do. Right. But yeah, and
what I'm going to say, Alex, hold on to your seat, all right? When the Celtic gets in town, and I mean this respectfully, okay? We'll have what I was going to something I want to add, and this is really mindful to what we've just touched on.
I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Your wife would literally, I mean, with what you're doing now and helping other people, and the listeners that have followed Alex and supported him, and shown him love and support and everything through what would have been a very hurting experience. She would have been so proud of you doing what you're doing now. And I thank you for watching my videos and for being there for me in those situations, and I appreciate your support on my behalf as well. So thank you, Alex.
Thanks.
I picked up on something. We're just turning the tables on you, Alex. It's going to happen at some point. You waited almost an hour to do this.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about.
My godson, my godson has got a life-limiting a degenerative youth disease, and I basically sat down and I didn't really know how to process it. And I remember speaking to his mum and dad. They've got a very strong faith, and I'm really admirable that they've got a very strong faith. And I said, "How do you process it? How do you process that that at some point you may pass away?" That's all right. You're clearly a popular guy today, Alex. Don't worry. Hey, look, this is real life. This is how it happens. Okay, and the way they've processed it, so we can help other people. that are going to be going through the same. And I've seen them step into that world that they didn't know anything about. In their view, kind of, they turn around and go, look, God has dealt us this card. You know, we are going to deal with this. And I get choked thinking about what they have done to help others. And I'm paying reference to what you talked about, is that we can't begin to understand. You know, I had a very good mate that I found, and that, but I can't begin to understand your situation. We have empathy with you, of course, but the strength that you can then help others in that situation is the value that comes from that. If that sounds, and I want to be appropriate in saying that, because
absolutely, I think for me, what I'm looking for resonates with you guys is this concept of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, because I think I need to push myself over the edge.
You've just given us the green card now. You realise what you've just done, all right? You've heard it here now.
Everything in my head just feels like boom, just too much stuff, you know. I look at what is possible to imagine, but like most people,
that's the filing away.
I don't have time, or it's too much, it's this or all that. You always find excuses for doing things.
First thing is recognizing that. First thing is recognizing that, which you do, and you know that. And again, it's the right people turn up at the right time. And I'd like to think that we're here to help you do that. So by all means, okay. We'll have a conversation offline, and and I'm already thinking of some stuff as well. So watch out. There's me saying, Kelly, watch out. Hold on to your horses.
Right. Absolutely. So just before we finish, I was actually looking. You've probably read this Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, Grow Rich.
Where he talks about these 17 success principles. And I was looking at this and thinking about you guys. I couldn't think of any single one that doesn't relate to you guys. Look,
oh wow,
a positive mental attitude, you know, absolutely, definiteness of purpose,
yes,
absolutely, going the extra mile,
yes,
definitely,
most definitely, accurate thinking. You guys know exactly where you want to be. Self-discipline.
Yes, self-discipline. Apart from chocolate, all right. Apart from chocolate, all right. You've heard it here first, all right.
The mastermind, you know, over the edge, and the Facebook group. Applied faith.
Yes.
You guys absolutely, do what you believe in. A pleasing personality, you know. We don't even have to say anything. Personal initiative, definitely. Yes. A lot of the stuff you guys are doing. Enthusiasm, enough said. Controlled attention. Absolutely.
Very
teamwork, definitely just you too. Teamwork, creative vision. We've gone through that, all the vision that you guys have. Budgeting time and money. I'm sure, definitely. I mean, I had to get in the queue on time to get you guys on the podcast. Maintaining sound physical and mental health. Yes, I saw Kelly's your exercises and all stuff that you are putting up.
The walking as well with the dog.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. And using cosmic habit force. Or that internal.
What was that last one? Sorry.
It says that cosmic habit force. So all your internal, like yoga and working on your mind and all that.
I visualize every single day.
So
I do. I visualize. Will I be able to put my socks on today? All right, because I'm just. But what's really interesting is that was one of the earliest books that I've read, and you've just reminded me of those principles. And now at the age of 52, right? I'm beginning to go, wow. That realization. There's a couple of things that you've said. Like, that's amazing.
I'd like to pretty much all the boxes.
I clearly brought all of that to the event. What did you bring? I put humor. Did you put humor? Did you put humor in there as well? There you go. That was it.
Absolutely cool. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Now, I just want to finish with a light-hearted game. This is a this or that game. So I hope probably your answers will match, hopefully. So be careful about that.
Well, we're both Gemini,
So, hang on a minute, we'll check before we answer. Right? We will confirm.
Yeah, so just to pick one, this or that. So, day or night?
Day.
Actually, let's not. Let's just shout it out. Right?
Just shout it out. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Oh, wow. Book or a movie?
Book.
Wow, that's good. Very good. Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Well, or it could be horrendous comedy if it's my jokes. I don't know.
Singing or dancing?
Dancing, yeah.
Oh, phone or a computer?
What was that? Did you say phone or computer? I'm computer, but
Yeah.
most of the time she's on the phone, right?
Not to do my work.
All right, okay, to do work, no, yeah,
computer. Too warm or too cold?
Too warm.
Oh no, too.
I'd rather have it too hot than too cold.
Oh, we've got our first little.
You would rather have it too cold?
Yeah, I would rather have it too cold. I don't like being hot.
Wow. So all I've got to do is move to the Caribbean, and you'll go to like Sweden then or somewhere.
Oh,
like that.
you know me. I like to get in.
space.
I love the sea, so
Right,
I love it
okay.
when I go straight in.
Right, okay, we'll come back to you on that. We have to work on that.
That was the next one, actually. Mountains or a beach?
Oh,
Beach. But I do like the mountains.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the mountains, but I love the beach.
What I would like to do is skydive to the top of the mountain and
Yes!
ski down.
Yeah,
To the beach. But then again, that's going to be the wrong season. But I don't know. Well, that's a tough one. There's some really good ones as well.
It's a really good
It's a
question.
really good question.
Really good.
Yeah, beach.
Yeah,
You have to do
cool.
a lot of stuff when you go skiing.
Come.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one, last but not least, freedom or hope?
Freedom or hope? Wow.
Hope.
Wow.
Mm. One to think about, yeah?
Yeah, I'll come back to you on that one. Yeah, hope, I think, actually. Yeah.
I know it's a difficult one because it is.
Yeah, that's
freedom, but
because
what I found
you want to be free, but hope can really carry you forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you cling on to something.
Yeah,
So
that's a real
it could be,
capitalist. Yeah.
maybe we take both on that one. But,
This has been a real
yeah,
capitalist. Yeah, thank you very much.
thank you guys.
I
You've
hope the
been
listeners have
awesome.
enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm sure the listeners will enjoy. Just a quick shout out for those that are listening. Where can they find you?
They can find us on.
weareovertheedge.com or search out Entrepreneur Truths on Apple, Stitcher, or Spotify and other platforms, Google Music Play, I believe. But yeah, literally come to our domain, weareovertheedge.com, or search out our OTE community, which is our Facebook group. It is a private group, but you can find it, request to join. And there's also a membership. But yeah, weareovertheedge.com is the best place.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kelly and Martin. I
Or just
really
reach
appreciate
out
your
to
time.
us. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not precious about that. Our phone number's out there. Just do whatever you want. But just, you'll get the polite stuff from Kelly and you'll probably get the blunt stuff from me. I don't know, whichever way. Alex, thank you very much.
Really appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you very
Thanks.
soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.